Good afternoon, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the afternoon of Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. And today's uh, topic or commentary is on the crisis of the 21st versus the 3rd century. I told you before that the United States is in the crisis of the 21st century, just like the Romans had the crisis of the 3rd century. Now, like the 3rd century, here on the 21st, the United States is getting eat up everything. The social structure is disintegrating. Your financial structure is disintegrating. Your military structure is starting to disintegrate. Your political structure is definitely disintegrating because look at Iowa. That can tell you. If you can pick a guy that's going to be bad for you, Donald J. Trump, and another guy that's going to be bad for you, Joseph Biden, with their policies, that means you got disintegrations. It happened to Rome in the 3rd century, starting in AD 235, like I told you before. Then it continued all the way to Diocletian in 284, but really continued all the way to Constantine and his death in 337 AD. Okay, but it's usually 235 to 284 because Diocletian had reunited the empire, stopped for a short time the porous, not the porous border, but the incursions from the bad guys like the Alemanni, the Vandals, and the Goths, and other tribes like that. There will be more later on in 50 years from now. The Huns, oh yeah, and the Vandals. Oh boy, yeah. Oh, they would have fun, wouldn't they? Yeah, well. And today, the United States is in the same predicament. You could see Donald J. Trump last night. Iowa is a small little speck. But it's the speck that started what happened in AD 235 on when the emperor got assassinated because his troops didn't get paid enough. Oh boy, yeah. Well, Iowa is the key, people. You've seen the vote that came into Iowa. It wasn't very many people voted, but hey, they still won the caucuses. And CNN is reporting that, oh yeah, Donald J. Trump got 98 out of 99 counties, and we're still waiting. He's losing by one vote to Nikki Haley in the 99th. Boy. Would you get reporting like that? Why do you need news people? Anyway, to give you an example of what happened, a little place like Iowa is a little place like Gaul. A little province, a little section of Gaul, not the whole thing, but a little section like Iowa is to the U.S. This section where the emperor got killed was to the Roman Empire. Okay? So Donald J. Trump won in the caucuses, and he is the head of the Republican Party. Well, this little section declared itself away from Imperial Rome, and because they were in the Gaul province, and at the time Gaul was a little bit more Gaelic than it is today, they declared themselves a free Gaelic empire. Okay? And Britain, which was controlled at the time by Rome, and this is 235 AD, and Rome was having all kinds of trouble. It couldn't pay its people over in Britain. So they decided to join, and the rest of Gaul decided to join too, and it became the Gaelic Empire. Okay? Gaelic. Remember that word, Gaelic. As in what they used to speak in what is now Wales. And they still speak it somewhat in Wales. You have to go way outside of British influence, but you still hear Gaelic over there, okay? And that was a language that was spoken all through the European continent before the Romans came in and invaded, and you know what happened after that. Roman Empire. Well, the Gaelics wanted to reassert their power centuries after the Romans had conquered them. In fact, put it this way, that was more time than the U.S. has been around. 1776 to 2024, and the Romans had conquered them a lot longer than that. So you're looking at a lot longer time period under Roman rule. And yet you still had this Gaelic philosophy, okay? Same as what you got in the United States. You got a philosophy known as the Donald J. Trump philosophy today, but it's been around for centuries. He's just the newest guy to adopt it to his form of thinking. And by 2045, or 245 AD, Rome was involved in a war because they had lost not only the Gaelic Empire, they had lost Hispania, which is incorporating the Iberian Peninsula of Portugal and Spain, formed the Hispanian Empire, and the empires of Syria, the provinces of Syria, Palestine, and a little bit of Turkey became the Palestinian Empire, okay, over there. So they dropped off. And the emperors that were in this time period just came from time to time, and there wasn't very much, 1-2 years, and you're gone, assassinated, or whatever. Bye, emperor. Next one. Who's on the line? Yeah. This is something that you guys in YouTube and Facebook got to face up to. It's a crisis of the 21st century. And Iowa has been the equivalent of that little town in Gaul that eventually became a little prefect and eventually became the Gaelic Empire. Very huge empire, too. If you take into account all of today's France, the Low Countries, and all of the British Isles up until Hadrian's Wall, that's pretty big. And then you got another empire that forms out of the Iberian Peninsula, Hispania. So then you got the Italian Roman Empire, which controls the most of Greece, a little bit of the Eastern European countries, including their Dacia, which is today's Romania. Yeah. Okay. So you got 3 empires which have the Roman attitude, yet call themselves different empires with different ways of thinking. And the people in Iowa that voted for Donald J. Trump want this. So what are they going to become? The Trump Empire in Iowa and around the surrounding states with Reds over there? Social structure going down. Then you have the blue states. They're not going to tolerate this. What are they going to do? Yeah, become blue states of the north, blue states of the west, and the other red states. What's going to happen in states like say, Florida with Ron DeSantis, who's not going to win his home state. See, this is a problem that you got in the crisis of the 21st century. You're going to an election where you got people that are distorting their own people. In Florida, DeSantis is the governor, yet Trump controls the state. Really? Why? Why would you go to a guy named Donald J. Trump or even DeSantis? Where is the American values here? Romans lost all their values, and they never got them back, by the way. When Diocletian resettled the empire in 284, and later on Constantine split the empire in 330 AD to the west and the east, Rome hadn't recovered. The western part of Rome had recovered from the split. The eastern part, they recovered, but they never got Syria back, and they lost Dacia, which became Romania because of the Romans that were still there for centuries, the 2 centuries that Rome controlled it. And they became what's today is the Romanese. What's going to become of the United States? DeSantis knows that he's going to lose his home state no matter what. So this election is over for him because he has to drop out unless he wants to take the indignity of losing his home state to Donald J. Trump. But what's that going to do to the Republicans or the Democrats? There's a lot of Democrats that don't like Joseph Biden because of his policies. So you're split the party down the line there too. Here's the problem, Americans. You're in a no-win situation here because you voted these jokers in. Now you got a huge problem. You got the crisis of the 21st century. Are you going to end up like Rome, who finally succumb after all these taxes and social, economic divisions that happened to it that didn't have what it's meant to be Roman anymore? And the Western Empire ceased to exist in 476 AD? For you, it'll come much earlier because today, the 21st century, is a lot faster than what happened in this 3rd, 4th, and 5th centuries. We go faster than that in our time period. So what took them centuries over there is going to take us years, maybe a decade here, but eventually the U.S. will cease to exist. Going by this. Just like what happened in 235 AD. It got so bad that by 284, you needed a guy like Diocletian to get you back. You don't have Diocletian anymore here. There's not even one in the horizon. But you do have Donald J. Trump and DeSantis and Joseph Biden. Those are like the emperors were between 235 and 284. A dime a dozen, and wow. You're losing territory on the inside, you're losing territory on the outside, and people are flooding into your country through porous borders in the east for the Romans. You had Vandals coming in, you had Goths coming in. Oh, you had all kinds of people coming in there. Same as you do on the porous southern border for the U.S. You got people from Europe coming in there. Boy, how did they get down here to get around there, huh? Anyway, this is your favorite alien saying, you got to deal with the crisis of the 21st century or you are dead ducks.